speaker tonight, George Dyson. And speaking to George earlier tonight, he is most known as a historian of technology. He will educate us on tonight. But at the ripe old age of 12, he started building his first kayaks. And that has evolved into a business that he has today, and some of his products are sold as far away as Greenland. Then at the ripe old age of 19, he decided to build a tree house, only 95 feet up in the air, that he lived in for 3 years. Now, I think that's most guys' dream, maybe something like that. And George did it. But George is here tonight to talk about the evolution of digital computing, telecommunications, exploration of space. He is about to publish his 4th book. In February will be coming out, and tonight we are privileged to hear some of the stories that is in that book. So let's give George a warm tag welcome.
Okay. Wow. Can we get the lights? And yeah, it's pretty amazing to be here. I've got a great picture. I didn't bring it, but my daughter learned to stay on the rocks together probably 20 years ago. But I'm going to tell you the story today of how we got here to this digital world, not the prehistory, which I sort of covered earlier, sort of how we got from the 17th century to World War II. This is how we got from World War II to where we are now. And then I promise you we'll go over what's next at the end. So, this is the digital universe. This was the year I was born, 1953. It was February 1953. I was actually born in March. And at that time, it's easy to remember, in 1953 there were 53 kilobytes of high-speed random access memory on planet Earth. And this is 1 kilobit. This is a 32 by 32 bit array. And what we do now is we have memory that exists off in the cloud or somewhere, we don't really know where it is, and we display it. But it was completely different then. It was absolute reverse, the way sort of the Republicans become the Democrats and that this actually was the memory. The memory was spots of electrical charge on the face of the cathode ray tube. So I'm going to tell you that story because it's very important. So it's the creation myth for how we got to the world we live in now, where we all have, we send emails with tattoos that are, 12 kilobytes. And part of this goes back to Alan Turing. It goes back really to 2 children. And what we're here tonight for is to give scholarships to the next Alan Turing, the person who is going to come from left field and create the next one. Alan Turing was completely the least, he would have been voted the least likely to succeed in anything. Yet there he was. And Johnny von Neumann, also a child in Europe in a very terrible, difficult time. And von Neumann would have been voted, his dad was a banker, so he would have been voted probably most likely to succeed. But they collaborated on sort of bringing us into the digital universe we're in today. So this Johnny von Neumann at this machine that was called a MANIAC, which stands for Mathematical and Numerical Integrator and Computer. And that's also 1952, and those cans are like coffee cans. Each can contains one of these matrices of 32 by 32 bits, which is one kilobit. I think 8 of those makes a kilobyte. Now, Alan Turing took a very abstract view that really electronics wasn't important. The important thing was to be digital. And this is Alan Turing in 1946. So 10 years earlier, he was a mathematical logician. So 10 years younger than you saw in that photo, he publishes this paper on computable numbers, which is the most weird, eccentric, abstract type of logical theory that nobody has any. There were actually 2 requests for reprints of this paper. Yet it is the most important document in the history of digital computing. So if you divide digital computing into an Old Testament and a New Testament, the Old Testament prophets were people like Leibniz and Hobbes who sort of said that this was possible. And then the New Testament prophets were people like von Neumann who built the machines. And Alan Turing was the guy, maybe who came in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And he talked about computing machines in a very abstract way. What would a computing machine be? And so his simplest model was a long and infinitely long, it wasn't infinite, but you could always add more tape, unbounded paper tape. So a one-dimensional model of computing, and that model has held up since 1936 until today. Now that would have gone nowhere, it just remained a sort of footnote in the history of mathematical logic, except in World War II, suddenly the World War happens. And we had this terrible problem of the Germans are sinking most of the ships going back and forth trying to bring aid to England from the United States. And where are the submarines? So they were transmitting their codes. The Germans were using digital code, and the British wanted to break it. So suddenly Turing, who was this complete nerd who had no status at all, became the leader of this group trying to decode these codes. And his solution to that, because he'd been thinking about it beforehand, was to build what we now would call a Turing machine. It actually had a real paper tape, and the tape what they had intercepted from the German U-boat command, and they're running it through that paper tape, and they have an internal memory that's in vacuum tubes, and they're comparing the two until they get a match. This was sort of this is the ancient predecessor of the searching. It's looking for patterns. And then when the war was over, Turing became absolutely obsessed with the question at the bottom of the screen. I propose to consider the question, can machines think? Von Neumann, on the other hand, he was concerned, he was obsessed with the question, can machines reproduce? And we now live in a world where these two sort of questions are put together, and we have machines that are not only intelligent, but they are self-reproducible. So these abstract ideas that came from the 1940s are now the world in which we live, and there's a lot of money if you do the right thing. So there's von Neumann in 1946, and one of his engineers saying, which is really true, he took everybody else's ideas, but he took the ideas and put them together. He was like the orchestra conductor. He didn't play an instrument, but he was able to make them all work together to get access to the funding. And so the question always has been, did he take Turing's ideas? Yes, he did take Turing's ideas. He was very outspoken about, he always said he took Turing's ideas. And to prove it, I went and looked in the library of the Institute for Advanced Study where von Neumann built his machine, and that's the particular volume of the Proceedings of the London Mathematical Society where Turing's paper that only 2 people had read were asked for copies of. And if you look at it, it's been read so many times, it's been completely, the binding is completely destroyed. So clearly, this is, I think, provable evidence that von Neumann's group was reading Turing's paper, and he said, and then for it, let the whole outside world, let's just take an abstract view of computation where the rest of the world is a paper tape, and we have this process. And that's the world we live in today, where the internet is essentially von Neumann's unbounded, or Turing's unbounded tape. We have access to this tape that just grows and grows and grows and grows. That's von Neumann at age 11, doing mathematics with his cousin Louis. Here he is at a Hungarian artillery battery, and he's the guy sitting on the gun barrel. And here at dinner with his family. So he grew up in this very privileged Budapest society. And that's his school. He didn't go to Belgian Technical College. He went to one of the better schools in Budapest. But all these great revolutionary people came out of this. It's like 3 different high schools in Budapest. We don't really understand why. His first job was at the University of Berlin, where he then, of course, resigned when the Nazis took power and came to America. He was able to come to America because Louis Vanderburg, who was the Jeff Bezos of the time, who had in the first department store that had prices on all merchandise and money-back guarantees. And then when the 1930 came along, he donated it. He gave all his money to start this institute. Von Neumann was one of the first people he hired. And he actually was educator Flexner who believed that the way to really make progress is let people just do whatever they're interested in. And good things will happen if you don't try and don't ask for next year's results. And that, I think, is a very profound and important idea. And it doesn't mean it's useless, but you can't predict what the usefulness will be. You just have to let people do what intellectually interests them. So Walter Stewart, who was chairman of the Federal Reserve, put it well clearly. Why should we give people who can think the user in which to do it? And it fails in many cases. Many people absolutely came to a decision and did absolutely nothing for the rest of their life. And something that they did a whole lot. So they built this great building. Their second hire, the first hire was a guy named Oswald Veblen, who was actually more important than Einstein. Their second hire was Einstein, who stayed there the rest of his life. But if you go in there, you walk into that front door, there's Veblen, who was first, he got the corner office. There's Einstein. And there's von Neumann next to the tea room. And then on the second floor, who is above von Neumann is Dr. Gödel, the logician. And Gödel was even weirder than Turing, even less likely to succeed in Turing. He contributed a very important concept to this whole idea, which is a concept of address. You can take a concept or a number, you can give it a numeric